welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. It's been a little while.
It's been since last week.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It just feels like it's been a while since we recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how you been doing, Mercedes?
How are you, Pannon?
Yeah. I am enjoying not being in the snow.
That is a plus. I am attempting to enjoy being in the snow.
Oh boy.
Gotta do some slipping around in my car. It was awesome. Gotta love that ice.
Jeez. Yeah, we just get lots of rain. It's just very wet. So hi all y'alls.
Stitchers and seamers.
Stitchers and seamers. Welcome to our podcast.
Yay!
I had an announcement from the Facebook group. We hit our 200 members. We are now at 212 as of yesterday.
Huzzah!
So that's pretty freaking awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
As usual, like, if you guys want to share your progress, you can see some of our fellow Cosplay Stitch and Seamers have, like, shared some of their really cool stuff they're working on. Mercedes usually posts a topic a few times a week that you guys can share progress to, or talk about stuff that's, you know, important to you in the cosplay community. If you want to hang out there on Facebook, just look for Cosplay Stitch and Seam. And what other ways can they hit us up, Mercedes?
They can hit us up at cosplaystitchandseam.com. That's our fancy little website. Blog
so
posts,
fancy.
Got pictures.
Yeah, there's always bonus content there, guys. So if there's something that, like, just the audio format isn't doing for you, you can see, like, fun pictures of, like, from past weeks. I really love the the script Mercedes put up a while back that was, like, our staging notes for how to put a skit together.
That's right.
Yeah, there's always bonus content there, so make sure you're checking that out every week when we release the new episode.
You can find my hideous staging notes.
Yes. You can also send us your topic suggestions, your horror stories, your happy stories, or stories of inner growth, whatever you want to send us. You can send them to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com.
Or you can fill out the form on the website.
Heck
also,
yeah.
you can donate a coffee to us. We have a coffee page now.
Yes, please.
I'll put a link in the do thinger down below because I can't remember what I called it right off the bat.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys may have noticed, but, like, Cosplay Stitch and Seam doesn't have ads on it. We run things pretty tight and clean, and any donations you make to our coffee site are going to help us keep things that way and keep providing you with quality content. It helps us. So, like, honestly, it's not like we're going out to buy candy bars. This just helps us to pay the monthly fees for maintaining a podcast.
Yep.
So anything you can provide us would be amazing. We do plan to give shout outs to those who donate, just so that we can make sure that you're appreciated on the air.
So you can put down your name or your cosplay name or however you want us to call ya.
So make sure you list where we can find your cosplay, like your fan page, your Instagram, whatever you would like us to give a shout out to if you donate, so that we can, you know, give you guys mad props for your support.
Woo! All right,
Yay!
What's today's episode about, Pannon?
Today's topic is kind of a tough one. I mean, we try to keep things pretty lighthearted and fun, but this week's episode is on cosplay bullying within the cosplay community in particular. I mean, bullying is, you know, a huge problem all over the world, but we wanted to kind of narrow our focus down to what is going on within the cosplay community and kind of how we can make a difference and make things better, even if it's just, you know, with how we see our own behaviors and keeping our own selves from falling into those kind of toxic behaviors. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was, like, our own personal experiences with cosplay bullying. Did you want to go first, or did you want me to?
Maybe you, because I don't actually...
Okay.
As far as, like, cosplay bullying and whatnot goes for me personally, I actually haven't had, not anything so overt that it's...
Sure.
Yeah, that I think I would call it on the levels of bullying, or if it has, I haven't noticed, because, you know, I'm an incredibly observant person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gosh. like, this is hard because, I try to stay as a very positive, upbeat sort of person on the whole, and unfortunately, this is something I have a lot of experience with, not just because of being a plus-size cosplayer, but also in the competitive area, I guess, of the cosplay world. People tend to forget that, under these costumes, we're all human beings.
Yep.
And there can be some really hurtful things. So I thought I would share just like a few experiences, and maybe just cut me off when you want to pitch in with yours, or if you have any thoughts.
I will.
All right. So when I was first starting out with cosplay, I don't want to say that I was in charge of, because everyone helped, but I was in a cosplay group, and you guys maybe remember XD Cosplay DX from like way back in Salt Lake cosplay
I loved
whatnots.
It. As a big
they
fan.
were a really fun bunch, and they all worked really hard, and we we had our own issues within the group and outside of the group, but like I remember at like one of the conventions we went to, like we had some people commenting on like our forum about like wondering like why we were there, and saying like you're not such a big deal, and like some of our members were like literally worried that people were going to confront them or harass them or like do something to ruin their costumes at the convention. So I mean that was pretty scary. But bullying can also be something like, I get this a lot more on my Facebook page, or on Instagram and whatnot, and I don't know why, but especially on DeviantArt, when I post new cosplay, I will get a lot of supportive people who, appreciate the art that I'm posting, but I'll also get occasional, it's either, a really overtly sexual comment, or it's something like, why are you cosplaying? You're gigantic. You have no business doing this. You're ruining my favorite character. And
Boo to those people. Boo.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the what was the worst one was something like, they said like, what you're doing isn't cosplay. You don't know what cosplay really is, blah blah blah, because really hurts, I wasn't
like, it really like breaks my heart to hear this like happening to you, because you are like the most cheerful, happy, kind, and also incredibly badass talented person.
Oh, she said a swear.
Well,
oh, I said a swear. I said a swear.
Oh no. Edit that out. But the like few of those really like cut me very deep. Like, I have been bullied and harassed about my looks since like elementary school, if I'm being honest. So the things about like my physical appearance don't bother me as much as saying like, you don't understand, you don't know what cosplay is. Or you don't deserve to cosplay, or things like that. And I will admit, like, that was one of the few ones that really set me off, and I got out, like, my copy paste of every award I had won all across the nation and internationally, and I was like, oh, well, I guess all of these, like, 60 plus awards are wrong then, because I don't know how to cosplay. So I was a little bit petty with that one.
I mean, only a little.
Yeah, but, and then this happened, like, quite a while ago, and I try to never, like, name names, like we do in our horror stories. We try to never name names of things that happened. But I think one of the ones that impacts me the most is when it is from a friend. And I don't know if we want to classify that as bullying, because we, like, touched on it a little bit in some of our earlier episodes about, like, typecasting in cosplay, or just hearing from a friend, like, oh, I don't think you should cosplay that because, you know, this doesn't fit your body type, or you're too tall, or you're too big, or you're not big enough, you know, to do any of those things is always hurtful. I mean, when we were looking at, like, definitions for bullying, it's something that's like a repetitive behavior, yada yada, and we'll get into the definitions in a bit, but it's definitely one of the more harmful ones, because with your friends you feel like you're in a, you know, a safe area. You feel like, you know, you're kind of more open with these people. You feel like, you know, of all the people in the world that are going to come at you with something hurtful, it shouldn't be people that you're open with.
Yeah.
So yeah, those have been some of my experiences. Did you have some you wanted to jump in with, Mercedes?
I was gonna say, I haven't ever had any, like, in-person ones where someone's come up to me and said rude things or tried to, you know, destroy a part of my costume or anything like that. But I have had the online, just here and there, rude comment, or someone telling me, you know, why are you doing this, or just being told that I'm just weird. But I like my weirdness. I like my weirdness.
Yeah, I do like your weirdness.
I think with the, like, in-person stuff, like, when I got into cosplay, I lived, like, an hour and a half away from everybody else who did cosplay. And so I never really got deep into those circles, especially in, like, the, I don't know, I guess the early years of cosplay here in Utah. And so I missed out on a lot of the drama, I guess, is that would come up every now and then in, like, these real big cosplay groups and whatnot, because I just couldn't actually be a part of them. But, like, personally, I haven't had much in the way of the bullying, which is fortunate.
That's good.
And
That's
I love this hobby, because it was a place where I felt like I could be myself. I could be with people who were as weird as me and wanted to play dress up, you know, extreme dress up.
I mean, I honestly think one of the saddest things for me about seeing bullying in cosplay is that most of us do come from that sort of background where we had, you know, we were never, I don't want to say never, and not that being popular is a bad thing, but we weren't really, like, a popular type of person. No. We were usually, like, the quiet, nerdy ones in school. And that's not to say that, you know, anyone who was popular can't cosplay and enjoy it, or, like, anyone who was not nerdy can't cosplay and enjoy it. They totally can.
But it's like, it's supposed to be a safe haven, that mentality. No matter who comes to it.
Yeah. So, like, you're kind of, like, used to, or had that sort of, like, mentality of, like, I don't really fit in, and then you get to cosplay and you fit in somewhere, and then you find that you still get some of those same toxic attitudes that you had to deal with when you were nerdy and an outcast in another setting, and I just think it's so dumb.
I wish that it didn't happen, because, like, this is the place that I went to find, like, people and feel like I had a place that I belonged. Like, in high school and whatnot, like, I didn't know about cosplay back then, but I did do, like, a little bit of, like, extreme Halloween costumes and things like that. But I got picked on in, like, middle school and high school. I got my head slammed into a brick wall.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty, like, looking back on it, it's hilarious. In the moment, I was scared out of my mind. But I remember, like, after this girl shoved my head into the wall, I just turned and just looked at her and went, "That didn't hurt," and then waited for her to walk away, and then I grabbed my head.
Gosh. Oh, dang, Mercedes.
I didn't want to give her the pleasure.
Oh my gosh.
It hurt like hell.
That was the coolest thing I've ever heard of.
Another swear.
You just... That's amazing. I mean, I'm sorry that happened, but I want to play it off.
But like, in cosplay, like, it's supposed to be everyone's place, no matter where you come from, whether you were the popular kid or the nerdy kid. It should be a place of safety, and we want to encourage that. Yeah.
One of the other ones I wanted to talk about, since we mentioned it a little bit at the beginning, was, like, in the competitive circuit, with people getting bullying attitudes with competition. And honestly, none of those have ever been, like, people I know kind of jump to being like, oh, it was World Cosplay Summit. No, I had some pretty positive experiences with World Cosplay Summit, but it's a very, very competitive, high-stakes sort of competition, and surprisingly, people were, like, hugely friendly. Some of, like, my dearest friends in the cosplay community I found through World Cosplay Summit, so just because we want to cover them in another episode, I love mentioning them. But one of the contests that I did go to where, like, we experienced bullying was, I'm not going to say what convention it was, but they had a rather large prize as for their contest, and we had gone there prepared for this skit for, weeks and weeks, and put these costumes together, and our I think I mentioned it in one of our horror stories because it was pretty awful, but one of our set pieces had these little, like, drapes on it where you pull a string and something would drop and you'd see something else in our backdrop. And we had set up our sets before the show, and it was from a, like, sort of dark series, so there were, like, blood handprints and blood streaks on some of our set pieces that had, dried long ago because it was, like, fake blood and stuff, and we'd set it out in the sun to dry weeks ago, and we had set it up backstage, and someone had come to our sets and poured water all over them. And it caused all the fake blood to recoagulate, and it was wet and sticky, and the drapes were super heavy. So these light, like, cotton drapes we had that you could just pull a string before were now, like, they couldn't support their own weight on the stage because they were so wet. And this was, like, right before we went on stage.
I remember this story. It's just like, no.
Yeah, so it basically ruined our performance. It really threw us off before going on stage, and, we didn't end up placing. And not to say that the people who won didn't deserve to win, because for sure they were an incredible group, but it really soured the competition to know that some people were insecure enough, and we still don't know to this day who did it, but that someone in that contest was insecure enough or spiteful or mean enough that they felt like they had to do something like that. And, even without being, like, physical stuff, I see it a lot in major competitions where you'll get maybe some of the, like, veteran cosplayers will come after the newbies who are coming into a new competition, like, oh, what are you entering? Why are you entering? Like, have you won anywhere else? Do you deserve to be here? And I'm just like, that attitude has no place here. Like, we're,
no place.
No, absolutely not. So I agree with what you're saying earlier, that we need to foster, like, a safe community, whether it's about stuff like being sensitive about our own bodies, or whether it's about competition, or whether it's about, like, how you choose to cosplay. Like, nobody deserves to be bullied in any of those formats.
Yes.
So, like, that's one of the things I want to stress the most, because, like, as a kid growing up, I had a lot of, like, self-esteem problems and troubles, and one of the things that my brain told itself when I would get treated like this was, well, they're right and you deserve it. And that's the one thing I want to, like, underline with a red pen, is you never deserve to be bullied. You do not deserve to be bullied.
Nope.
That is all on whoever is doing that bad behavior toward you. It is all on them. It is not you. Nobody deserves it. So just, like, I don't know, like, tattoo it on your forehead, put it on your wall. Like, you do not have to put up with that kind of behavior. But yeah, I thought we would, now that we've kind of gotten a little bit emotional about this, thought we would share kind of, like, what the definitions maybe for bullying are, and kind of, like, how it kind of changes from community to community. Because I was looking online, and most of, like, the national, what was the one that you went to, Mercedes, the National Bullying, Anti-Bullying,
hang on, let me pull it up,
website. Okay. While she's doing that, I just wanted to mention that, like, one of the issues I noticed in looking for pages about bullying was that most of them think that it's an issue that just happens while you're in school. Like, it's a thing that only happens to kids. And bullying, especially when it's in the cosplay community, it can be someone of any age, you know, coming after or being bullied.
Yeah, it can happen at any age. So we got the websites. We've got the National Bullying Prevention Center. It's a national one. And there's also stopbullying.gov.
Oh, and how did they define bullying, or?
Well, I had a bully breakdown that was given to me by John. Yeah, there we go. John Johansson. Awesome guy, by the way. He runs like a self-defense course for helping boost your confidence against, you know, like if you're being bullied, it helps you create that confidence that you need in yourself, so that way you can help overcome that, even though, like, you can't change what the bully is going through, but you can change how you react to them. And being confident in yourself is a real big help to that, and he uses self-defense courses to do that. So on his bully breakdown that he gave me, he said that bullying, by definition, is the use of superior strength or influence to intimidate someone, typically to force him or her to do what one wants. And then he says there's a variety of reasons that bullying happens. None of them are okay. And I also want to add on there, none of them are your fault as the person being bullied.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that, like, with online bullying becoming more and more prevalent, one of the websites I found, besides just, you know, using superior power, strength, influence, etc. over someone else, they gave a list of, like, examples of what bullying can be, because that is a good definition, but sometimes we get caught up in, like, well, I don't know, does this really count? So here's just some examples of things that can be bullying. Posting comments or rumors online about someone that are meant to be mean or hurtful. Threatening someone, or, like, even posting those stupid, like, kill yourself comments. That is a form of bullying.
Yes.
If someone is pretending to be someone else online in order to make someone else look bad, that's a form of bullying. Let's see. Doxing is another thing that's kind of specific to online, which is posting someone's private information publicly.
Doxing is basically huge. Like, don't do it, people. It's rude. It has very big legal repercussions now.
It does.
Doxing is huge in the gaming community. Like,
right.
If you want to talk about bullying there. Getting doxed, there was, I can't remember exactly, but someone who had doxed another player online, that kid actually got sent to jail.
Oh, wow.
He did get convicted and had to pay, he did the crime, now he's doing the time.
Yeah, well, and I think, as, I guess online interfaces kind of grow and change, it makes sense that laws need to be updated and changed to keep up with that, because, you know, a lot of good things do come out of all of our online communities. A lot of good things come out of being able to game with your neighbor or someone across the world, but also, you know, unfortunately, a lot of crappy things can come out of it too. But yeah, doxing, as Mercedes was saying, is a form of online harassment, basically used to destroy the privacy of whoever they are bullying. It means making their personal information, such as, like, their address, social security, credit card, phone numbers, links to their private Facebook, whatever, making those available publicly, which is really not cool. It can be really hurtful. It can, like, I've seen some people who have been doxxed and suddenly have a bunch of stalkers because people know where they live, or people are sending awful things to them in the mail. It gets pretty scary.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You were in the middle of your
webpage. That was the main part that I wanted to get across there for defining bullying.
Okay.
For me, like, bullying is, like, if you are doing something and you're doing it to hurt the other person, whether emotionally, physically, socially even, if it's a lie, just don't do it. And again, this is putting the responsibility on the person who may or may not do the bullying. And if you're like questioning, am I bullying? Well, ask yourself, is it hurting the other person? I mean, I know that some people do mean things and you want to get back at them, but
yeah,
you don't want to become a bully back. If you want to raise awareness about
right,
somebody doing something horrible, you can raise awareness about it without being a bully, without turning it into a he said, she said little fight back and forth on the internet. Because I know that a lot of that kind of turns into those sort of situations. Just be respectful, and that will shine through way better than, deciding to smear somebody's name on the internet for a day.
Yeah. I mean, like, for me, like, way back post-high school, like, I had some friends who were in the nerdy community, and then we ended up, parting ways not so awesomely, and that individual ended up smearing my name to a whole bunch of, like, conventions and places and telling them I was a bad person, and it took a long time for me to build up those relationships with people and have them get to know the real me and actually give me a chance because of the sort of harmful stuff that person had done. It stinks. And the other thing is, like, if you hear stuff that just sounds malicious and bad and, make sure that you take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. It's such a hard thing to come by, because when it's coming from friends, you want to believe your friends more than anything. And I don't want to get into the, like, mindset of, like, not believing people, but it just, it gets so messy and convoluted and hard. Yeah. I lost the track of where I was going with that. But
yeah, I was gonna say I try my best with this, and I let my friends know. So, like, if I've got friends that are, like, complaining about someone, I'm like, oh yeah, that's horrible and whatnot. But they all also know, as my friends are doing this, they all know that I will reserve judgment for someone until I have met them and thoroughly, like, met them. I will be aware of any worrisome behaviors that I may see, coming up, and I'll let my friends know if I see that happening with them. Because I don't want my friends to become bullies. But I also, like, don't want to make friends with someone that someone else is uncomfortable with.
Right.
I would like to give them the benefit
I feel like
of the
that's
doubt.
a hard.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a hard line between bullying and gossip, and being able to, like, tell where that goes. But I think that's a good idea to, like, reserve judgment and be able to make your own opinion.
Yes, and letting your friends know that that is how you stand is also a good, helpful thing. Because then otherwise they're like, "Why are you friends with that person?" You're like, "I know you said these things, but you know that I reserve judgment too. I'm trying to figure them out myself too." Give somebody a chance.
For sure. One of the things I noticed is that a lot of these websites will actually, with episodes like this, I know we are trying to, like, kind of promote self-awareness in, like, making sure that we're not the ones causing those sort of behaviors or putting that influence on others, and making sure that, people know that these are bad behaviors. But what a lot of the websites do, they kind of focus more on individually. If this is happening to you, here's some things you can do, which I know isn't always what people want to hear. You want to have, like, a worldwide fix for these problems and, like, raising awareness of the problems. But these are things that, I just want to be clear that we're not, like, blaming the person that the bullying is happening to. These are just ways that they can keep themselves safer. And even if they are not practicing these things, I am in no way saying that, like, they deserve to be bullied. It's just some things that you can kind of keep in mind to help keep yourself safe if you are being bullied.
It's a confusing, complicated thing. And here are some tips for how to help you through it.
Right. So, and these are actually suggestions from Planned Parenthood, which I was kind of surprised we would see some bullying help there. But yeah, these are from Planned Parenthood. One of their top ones was to block and unfriend. If you see people with harassing accounts, email addresses, phone numbers, etc., block them, unfriend them. You know, you don't need that kind of negativity. Make sure you're checking your privacy settings on your social media accounts. Some people have hidden statuses, not statuses, but like hidden accounts, etc., for a reason. And they help keep you safe, etc. On Facebook and other places where you're trying to promote yourself as a cosplayer, that can be really hard, but you can still block accounts. Make sure if you are having like a fan page, etc., that you are keeping your personal details private. Make sure you're not posting like your phone number, places that you live or frequent, or personal information about yourself, basically. Just because that can be dangerous, especially if you get, you know, even if you haven't been doxxed, if you are sharing that information, you know, bullies can use that and hurt people. One of the other things they suggest is to take a break from either your phone, computer, social media, etc. Just take a break and step away. Make sure that if you are getting like harassing emails, texts, or messages, that you save and document them. Take screenshots of them. This can be important if it does end up something that you have to escalate and take to the police. It's a good idea to have, you know, documentation of what happened. Make sure you're report bullying where it happens. If you see, as friends, if you see someone being bullied, make sure you're reporting it online to Facebook or Twitter or wherever. They do allow you to report those. I can't guarantee that they're great and always take it seriously, but you can report it to whoever is administrating the site. Don't, like we kind of talked about earlier, it's easy to get in the mindset of they hurt me, I want to hurt them. Don't respond back to like mean or threatening messages with more mean and threats. You know, it can make the bullying worse, it can escalate, and it can also get you in trouble if you are threatening someone back, because then, you know, they have stuff on you, you have stuff on them, and it's really hard to sort things out.
It just becomes a mess.
There's also, if you are
there's, I don't know, when you, especially like with in-person stuff, if somebody's being like belligerent and angry, they're in, I'm trying to remember, it's gonna be really rough, and I'm probably misquoting this like completely. They're lizard brain, where they are not acting like a person, they're acting like a very defensive lizard, and that can cause you to go into your lizard brain too, and once you're both in that, and you're, you know, posturing like lizards up against each other, you're not gonna get anything done. There's no progress that's gonna be made. So it's better to just not feed into that.
Yeah. I get that.
Don't give them a reaction. Some people feed off of that. You heard the phrase, don't feed the trolls? Don't let them feed off of a reaction. They don't need that from you. They want it. They don't need it.
The other thing was make sure if you are getting threatened that those threats go to the police. And when it escalates from like just harassing comments to actual threats, please make sure you're contacting police. That's like number one on their list. And this one, I thought this last one was kind of like, I mean, it's clearly like targeted toward younger people who are being bullied, but I think it also kind of like cross platforms over into cosplay. But it says, tell an adult that you trust.
Find a friend that you trust.
And yes, I was going to say, with that regard, it can be, you know, it can be a parent, it can be a teacher, it can be a counselor, it can be a friend, anyone that you find supportive. Talk to them about it so that you're not suffering with this alone. And they can also have like an outside perspective that can help you, you know,
if you're sitting there,
see things.
You're just like sitting there questioning, did this really go this way? Was I really being bullied, or did they just, try to call something out on me? What was going on? If you can have somebody that you trust to bounce that off of, they can help you be like, yes, that was bullying, or, oh, that's okay, you'll be fine. It really helps to have a sounding board, especially somebody that you trust.
Yeah. So the last part I kind of wanted to talk about was noticing those behaviors in ourselves. And that has been a really hard one. Like I said, when I was younger, I definitely struggled with blaming myself with a lot of stuff. So, and kind of belittling myself all the time. And it's kind of hard with that to make sure that,
that's another thing too. Don't bully yourself, Pannon.
Don't bully yourself. That is for sure. But kind of what I wanted to say with that is that, like, you're not, like, being overly critical of yourself and the way you view things. Like, you don't need to make yourself into a doormat for your friends.
No.
But also, like, just because you've said, like, maybe you're giving a friend constructive criticism, hopefully because they asked for it, but that doesn't necessarily make you a bully, you just have to kind of take a step back, look at how you're saying things, look at what you're saying to people, look at behaviors of your own that are commonplace and how people have reacted to them, and kind of, like, ask yourself if it's a good behavior or a toxic one. And I think that's something we can all kind of do. I've been trying to, as a New Year's resolution, sort of, like, be more careful with that. Be more attentive to, like, the way I say things and word things and do things, and make sure that it's what I really want to convey, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like one thing that I do. I can be incredibly blunt. And sometimes that's helpful, but not all the time. Not everyone needs somebody who's blunt to tell them, especially when they're seeking. Yeah. I don't know. I can be blunt about a lot of things, and so I try to, like, see that when I'm starting to be rough or abrasive or blunt in what I'm saying, and try and come up with a way of, okay, there's a better way to say this. Think before I speak, but not paranoidly think before I speak.
That's a hard line to draw.
Yeah.
So I made a list of, like, some toxic. I hate using the term toxic because I feel like it's become a little bit overused in how we talk about, like, bad behaviors.
I agree with that.
I mean, it is true to an extent, but I don't ever think that you should, like, cut someone out completely just because they exhibit one of these behaviors. I think there's this attitude that, like, because someone did, like, has one toxic behavior or has done one thing wrong, that they need to be, like, ostracized and pushed out of all the groups. I mean, it totally depends on, like, how bad the thing is that was done. Because I'm not saying, like, criminals, blah, 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 I don't know where I'm going with this.
There's a fine balance here, and it's complicated.
Yes.
It's complicated.
Yes. But, I mean, as long as the behaviors that are toxic are not, like, abuseful or in any way, like, abuse is, like, top tier, definitely a toxic behavior and should not be tolerated.
Yes.
I want that to be very, very, very clear. But these are behaviors I found online that they're listed as toxic, but I feel like they can be, as long as people know that they are not welcome, you don't have to, like, stop being friends with someone because they, said something about one of your friends, or, like, etc., etc. I was going to use, like, a cosplay name, but I couldn't even BS one.
BS cosplay. But,
like, BS cosplay. They said, like, look at what BS cosplay was wearing. Can you believe that she's trying to pull that off? Like, that is a toxic, mean thing to say, but rather than just stop being friends with the person saying it, just make sure that they know that that's not a welcome behavior. That's not a welcome conversation sort of a thing.
You can say, hey, that's not very polite. BS Cosplay's made these really great things, and even though his or her body type is not fit for it, they do a really great job on what they do make out of it. The body's got nothing to do with it. They're talented. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, you can defend the other person, or if you have no idea who BS Cosplay is, you can be like, I don't know who this person is, and I think it's rude what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like, especially with the cosplay community, there's such a focus on how they look, and I can't remember who told me this, but it kind of left an impact in how I look at I guess not how I look at others, but anyway, if it's not something that you can sum up with their behavior and not how they look, then it probably shouldn't be mentioned. Like, if the only, like, reason you're coming after a cosplayer is because of something to do with how they look, then it shouldn't be made into a big deal, because that's not something they can help. Well, we talked about this in our body positivity one, but if it's something in their behavior, then that's different.
Yeah. Did you hear that BS Cosplay pushed that other cosplayer off the stage?
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely
that's a really
not
extreme
the same
thing. I hope no one does that, guys. Please don't do that.
Please don't push your competition off the stage. You know, if it has to do with their behaviors, that's different. If it has to do with their appearance, then that makes you the bully. So that
but also, if you
find
out later that BS Cosplay didn't push anybody on stage, then obviously the person was lying, and that's bullying. So,
oh no,
it's complicated.
Yeah. So yeah, assigning like roles based on looks, like Mercedes said, even though it doesn't come off as like it might come off as them being like, oh, I just wanted to suggest something I thought you'd like. Just letting people know that that's not always a helpful behavior. It's not something like, maybe you do like cosplaying things based on how you look and trying to look as close to that character based on your own body type, and if that's true, that's cool, but maybe that's not for everyone. Maybe people like doing stuff that's outside of their of how they see themselves, you know. So try not to suggest things based on others' looks, body type, skin color, etc. Mercedes kind of mentioned it with her BS Cosplay, and saying, like, joking that belittles others, you know, talking crap on others because of their cosplay, etc. Like, oh, look at her seams, they're not as straight as my seams are, how did she win? Or, like, you know, again, anything that has to do with how things are looking, it should not be something that you should be ostracizing someone about or talking garbage on someone about. So if you see that kind of behavior, I know it's super easy to fall into that, especially when you do competitive cosplay, because when you don't win, sometimes it can really hurt. But making sure that that you keep that positive attitude and not tear others apart because of how they look.
You can do what I did.
Is definitely crucial.
If you feel like you...
What'd you do?
I started a blog showcasing other cosplayers to keep myself from being like, oh, my stuff's the best. Because believe me, it'll humble you. There's so many talented cosplayers out there. Stay humble.
I mean, that's for sure. That's for sure. Like, it definitely helps change your perspective to look to be inspired by others rather than to try to drag them down.
Yes. Look to be inspired by others. I love that line. That's a good one. Hannah, you're genius.
Oh, thanks. I try. But yeah, and I know, like, even within our podcast here, I know my wording and stuff is never perfect, and I hope I haven't said anything that would, you know, trigger or upset anybody. But just know that we are always trying, and, you know, we take constructive criticism too, as long as it doesn't turn into bullying on our end. But yeah, some things to keep in mind that, like, with cosplay bullying, I see it with body policing we talked about, but also with cosplayers who make versus cosplayers who buy, is also not a fair reason to bully someone.
Yeah, don't make fun of somebody because they bought it or they spent hours making it, like, on either end there. It's
Yeah.
Cosplay. You're playing dress up. Extreme dress up, but it's awesome.
Right.
Doesn't matter how you got there.
Yes. I noticed also there's a really fun hashtag if you guys want to look into it. It's hashtag not a cosplayer, all one word. And it's people sharing stories of being bullied and being told, oh, you're not a cosplayer, you're this. And basically looking amazing in their cosplays and doing it anyway, even when people say, oh, you're not a cosplayer. So yeah, hashtag not a cosplayer is a really fun one to look for.
Huh. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, and one of the ones I found, which is like kind of it's difficult to do, especially like when you've been hurt by bullying and hurt by basically the words of others putting you down and things like that. And even if you're not someone who is receiving the bullying, but one of the most helpful things is positivity and warmth. Like, not just telling people, you know, cheer up, but like use your actions, use your words to spread positivity and warmth instead of negativity. Like, I really love what Mercedes does with her website, because she took something that was like, you know, saw herself maybe falling into like looking at other cosplayers and getting judgy, and she went, no, I'm going to use this to get to know and like learn more about all these cosplayers and all the cool work that they put into things. So she's taking something that could have been a negative behavior, but she made it super positive and upbeat and learned so much from it. So
I recognized what was happening, and then I was like, what can I do to counter that? I did not want to become that. It's so easy to fall into.
But yeah, not just... It is, for sure. And, like, recognizing it when it's happening with you is huge. And even more so to be able to do something to change behaviors. And, like, for me, definitely going into this new year, that's one of my resolutions, is to, you know, look at behaviors and try to make them better. Try to turn them into positive. Try to make, you know, the world a kinder, nicer, better, warmer place. Yeah, and that's
and like, I really want
all I got.
Community. Like, the community has been an escape for me, a place where I can go to that's safe, that I can be with my fellow nerds, and it's awesome. And I want to give that back to the community. So yeah, I guess like my like general advice for everybody is just, you know, the whole golden rule thing: be kind to others, treat them how you want to be treated. Whether you suddenly find yourself that you realize that you're being a bully or that you are being bullied, just remember that. How do you want to be treated? And a lot of people who, like, that this happens to, know that you are worth defending. Like, it is not your fault that you're getting bullied.
Definitely.
You know, like, on both sides there, whether you're the bully or the bullied, you probably have insecurities going on, but just know that you are worth being a person. And that you don't have to be treated rudely or any of that, and you can walk away from those situations and still have fun at a convention, or go do cool things with your friends, or make new friends. Don't feel like, I don't know, if you ever feel like, you know, you've been bullied and, like, you're feeling down and whatnot, and it's a convention that Pennon and I are at, come find us, we'll give you hugs.
Yes,
we'll make
definitely,
you feel better.
definitely. So I think we need something lighthearted and silly. How about some horror stories?
Oh yes, horror stories. So we actually had some sent in.
I have a happy story I want to share at the end.
Okay.
But
awesome.
Let's give us a horror story.
All right, here's a horror story. This is from, and I apologize if I say this wrong, but we all know I can't pronounce things. Garou Cosplay. Garou. So Garou Cosplay. They sent in, said, if you're interested in a light cosplay horror story, here's a first time entering a contest story. My first time entering a costume contest was actually a few months ago. Myself, my partner, and our best friend all entered together since we had helped each other make our cosplays and were entering as a group. It was super intimidating since the judges were cosplay idols of ours, but we gave it a shot. That can be super intimidating. The night
yeah, that can for sure.
Yeah. The night before the contest in the hotel at like 2 a.m., I was upgrading my costume, upgrading with quotes around it. The character I chose has 3 outfits. Each outfit is an upgrade of the last, so it wasn't like I was making a whole new outfit or anything. So they're cutting off the sleeves and hot gluing the new armor gloves to it, as well as reattaching my boot armor. On top of me, sitting in the corner of the room, frantically gluing my costume together, our friend realized he hadn't actually assembled some of his armor to his torso. There's a big section that lays on top and juts out the back at a 45-degree angle with no way of holding it on properly.
Oh no! That's definitely a thing you wanted to think of how to attach in advance.
Yeah. So thankfully our con mom packed lots of hot glue and cutting knives, and we went to work attaching straps and winging it. By some miracle, it worked. So the next day, we're in line to get judged, and my boot armor just keeps falling apart each step we get closer to the judge's room. Once again, con mom jumps in with duct tape and hot glue, and Frankenstein's my poor boots back together. Minutes before we go into judging.
Oh, dang.
We get judged, go through green room, do the stage walk on, and carry on by the skin of our teeth as all our costumes fall apart by the end of the day. Aww.
Oh, man. Oh, that's rough. I have been there. I've had things fall off on the way to judging. That stinks.
Yeah. They had been worn and stress tested at cons before this, so it was unexpected.
Oh, that stinks even more.
Yeah. But somehow we managed to win Best in Show. Oh, congrats!
Wow! Wow!
Well done!
Happy ending there.
Yeah. It was an incredible honor, especially with all the other talent and our last-minute panics. Last minute in the hotel details were not something we're used to. We try very hard to avoid it, but it was inevitable in the end.
Well, congrats.
Yeah, and then they said the takeaway to this is give yourself way more time than you think you need for doing something even as simple as upgrading a costume.
Air quotes, upgrading.
That's amazing. Also,
man.
Good on the con mom. Whoever their con mom is, like, everybody needs a con mom, by the way. That's a convention mom, if you don't know that phrase. Like, it's somebody at the convention who just, they have everything. Not just from, like, crafting supplies, but they're like, do you got food? Do you need some gum?
I usually have a big purse with me, and if someone has a request, it is usually in that bag.
Kimi and Kame are my con moms.
Yes, you got gum, you got Band-Aids, you got hairspray, you've got bobby pins, you've got safety pins, you've got thread and needle, you've got it all. You got snacks.
Snacks.
That's a good one. I like that.
It's very sweet.
I'm glad it had a happy ending.
I'm glad too, even though their poor costumes fell apart by the end of the day. I totally know that feel where you're like, I tested this is gonna be great, and then you're at the con and you're like, what just ripped?
Yeah. Aw. So my opposite of bullying story, I thought I would share like a really warm fuzzies sort of one that I enjoyed, warm experienced, etc. This was after Garnet Runestar and I had tried for World Cosplay Summit a couple of times, and most of the negative comments we got didn't come from the other competitors themselves. It just came from like anons online and things like that. But a lot of people said to us, maybe not to us, but said of us that, you know, why do they keep trying? You're never going to get it because you're a plus size team. Like, which, you know, just makes you want to try even harder.
But prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But after getting comments like that, we went into the competition again, and it was back when they did like preliminary qualifiers and things like that. And one of the things it just stunned me to my core, and like really like I broke down and was sobbing over it when I got to the hotel, is like as soon as we arrived at the hotel where the competition was being held, we had a whole bunch of friends and previous competitors and basically people who had grown with us in the cosplay community show up in these neon green jello shirts to come cheer us on for the competition.
I wanted one of those shirts so bad.
And I just, you know, it was so, you know, I don't even know how to say it. It was moving. It was so kind. It was so positive and warm, and such a sweet way to be that way with your own competition. Like, to show that compassion and caring and support of each other is so important, so kind, and so vital, you know? And it, like that was years ago, and it still sticks with me to this day. So look for ways that you can, you know, be positive, be that change that you want to see in your community. Like little things like that, people remember them. People, it will stick with them. So yeah, I just wanted to leave on a positive, happy, fun thing.
So sweet. Be the change you want to see. Be nice. Treat everyone how you want to be treated. Yay!
Yeah. So that's been our show. Make sure that you guys contact us with topic suggestions if there's something you want us to yammer on about, like we know what we're talking about. Yeah, tell us. If you have a horror story that you want to share, if you have a happy story, how you have grown because of the cosplay community, things that you have done because of cosplay, maybe stepped out of your shell, things like that. Share that with us. We want to talk about it. You can email us at cosplaystitchandseam.com. You can't.
You did it this time. It wasn't me.
You could kind of email.
You could do that by filling out a form.
There's a form on cosplaystitchandseam.com that you can fill out to share. There's also our email. Go ahead and share the email, Mercedes.
cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
also,
then, of course, there's our Facebook group.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group. There's all sorts of fun things. Just come join us. Be part of the group. Be part of the wholesomeness in this awesome cosplay community. Also, we'll be going...
Join our jackalopes.
We have one more episode that we'll have next week, and then we'll be going on hiatus until January 11th. We'll start up with new episodes again. So we'll see you guys
so just a very short hiatus. It's only for, like, the holidays and whatnot, because, yeah... But yeah, that's it. Editing, as always, is done by our lovely David Jeffers of Comic Trades Monthly and Dungeons and Chill. So make sure if you are a podcast listener, you're checking those ones out.
Yeah.
And music
by Macy,
as always.
By Macy Roberts.
Yay, Macy, thank you.
She's so awesome. One day she's going to make amazing video game music, and you'll all know what her name actually, like, who she is.
So just remember, to be little is to be little. And of course, I mean being petty, not by being small. Come on, guys, this pun was a struggle. So don't be little, be awesome.